Senator Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Lindsay, in your opening remarks and your written statement, you talk about moral rot, and I wonder if you can just tell us again, what do you mean by that?
I think it's the erosion of basic human values that we have seen become sort of the standard and norm in a lot of higher education, which is entirely antithetical to the very purpose of what education is designed to do.
Where does it come from, though? Why do we see it fostered so heavily on college campuses in America?
Well, I think it's accretion because we are humans that make lots of mistakes, and we need to have guardrails that keep us from our worst sensibilities. So part of what we seek to try and do is to put ourselves in communities that can encourage us to pursue a virtuous life.
But what motivates it on a college campus?
I think that probably the important dimension that we want to try and do is create an academic community, an environment where we uphold values that we agree to. There has to be clarity. Institutions have to be able to say, this is what we stand for and this is who we are. A lot of higher education hasn't always been doing that. And we realize we may not be the right place for every student, so we want to try and recruit the right kind of students. And then we want to create an ecosystem where those kind of virtues can thrive and flourish.
I would assume that all of you here, every college president in America would agree that their overall mission is to prepare students for careers and make them good citizens, or prepare them to be better citizens of this great country. But why do so many colleges stray from that? I mean, what motivates it?
I think that probably the larger purposes that we're seeing, the noble cause of higher education, oftentimes it gets eroded when we get involved in the nitty-gritty of the regulatory environment and trying to respond to the economic challenges we face. I mean, all three of us would say we're working hard to try and make our institutions as affordable as possible, and it's hard work every single day. But it is those larger aims, those higher ideals that draw my colleagues and me to try and do everything we can to be able to serve our students more effectively. It's part of what gets me up in the morning.
To me, it almost feels like it's like a political movement, and we see it manifest itself in things like DEI, for example. And I wonder, you represent a very well-respected independent institution in my state, but who has rejected this political DEI movement. But why have so many colleges in America embraced it? Is it donor-driven? Is it pushed on you by institutions in the federal government? Is it tied to federal funding? I mean, what would motivate a DEI movement on college campuses, which seems antithetical to that mission that you just described?
Well, I can't really speak for what happens at other campuses, but I'll say, I mean, we love our diverse and global students, and that's been a part of who we are. You know, interesting story is that our very first international student was a guy named Sammy Morris. He was a Liberian prince who had to flee Liberia when there was a coup. And he turned to an American couple who he knew to say, is there a place where I could go? They happened to be Taylor graduates who were doing missions work, trying to help the people of Liberia. So they wrote to the president of Taylor and said, would you consider admitting this student? He's our first student of color. He was our first international student. But he became an exemplar for the rest of our campus. Sammy Morris's spirit sort of lives on our institution, and it sort of informs how we're trying to build the kind of community where all God's people are welcome at Taylor, and we recognize that we're there to be able to serve and bless. So Sammy Morris, he's a prince. He comes to Taylor. We didn't actually have a room for him to stay in. He said, give me the room that nobody wants to live in. That's where I want to stay. That kind of spirit of serving others above yourself was what he sort of held up as an exemplar, and it's become part of the spirit of our campus ever since.
I love that. I grew up in a trailer park in a small town in Indiana, son of a factory worker, and I worked hard just to get into college. And what I appreciate about Taylor University is you have the student, I hope, didn't get accepted because he was a prince, or because he was a foreign student, or because he was a minority student. I hope that he was accepted because of your merit-based approach to accepting students. And I wonder, can you talk about that? Taylor embracing more of a merit-based approach than the DEI or the political approach to admissions?
I think it's super important that you find mission-appropriate students. And for us, that means they have to be academically strong. Our average high school GPA of the freshman class is 3.89. So we're really proud of the academic standards that we uphold at the university. And it helps us to realize we might not be the right place for every student, but for those who want to be at Taylor, we want to find a place for them.
Yeah, I think that's, when we talk about preparing students for their career, to be good citizens, I think that's really important. To reject reject the political approach and to accept students based on merit and give them that opportunity. And I think Taylor does that very well. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.